Snort. Haven't seen you in a while. Why can't we just have more than 2 minutes of video without an ad? Ridiculous. Big day of flea marketing. I know. I get excited too. I can't sleep a day before flea marketing too. Oh, you watch the replay daily. Thank you, Snort. And you're blessed in the replays as well, aren't you? That was my camera. Wow. I do something similar with another person's show. All right. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. That's Turin, Italy, getting hit with hail. You know where the Shroud of Turin is in Italy? Yeah, that Turin. Okay, let's get a little settled here really quick while we're getting this loaded up. And take a minute to thank you guys for taking a moment of your precious time to be here with this precious family. And I think you know what I mean. All right, sorry, I'm kind of tired, so we're just going to try to plow through this. All right, here we go. We're talking August 3rd, 2024, 8/3/24. And I want you to take a look around the sun here. We don't have a bunch of blasts or anything going on, but just look at it for a minute. we have Gabe is back. Yeah, good to see you back, sir. We have a lot of this like inward movement all the way around. If you look over here, you can kind of see these little objects already. We'll go zoom into this in a minute, but I want you to see all this flow that's going inward. And then we also have an object that starts right here and goes in two directions, towards the sun and away. So right there, what happened there? NASA, would you like to explain? Yeah, I don't think they would like to explain what happened there. But definitely something different. Well, actually, we've seen this kind of activity before, but it's definitely different than what we're usually reporting on. We have all this inward flow. It almost looks like a debris field of little objects. I don't know, let you be the judge of this, but let's just go zoom in on this area over here. And you can see all these things are moving inward towards the sun, going against the solar wind. All over here, too. Okay? I'd like to hear some explanations out of any other solar reporter, any of them. NASA, especially. What's going on here, huh? What are these things, huh? Why do we have events happening outside the corona of the sun going in two different directions? Yeah, explain that. It's one of these objects entering the magnetic field, one of these little field lines or whatever. There's different rings around the sun or barriers with different strengths. So there's, the, well, not the donut, but the torus-shaped magnetic field, there are barriers, and when one of these objects crosses one of those barriers, it tears it away a little bit, and you can see it leaves a little wake. I believe that's what's happening there. That's about the only thing that makes any sense. I mean, just looking at it and observing it, you can see said object right there was going in, and when it entered, the solar wind way out here, it went against the wind, see that, as it was going in, clearly indicating that something is moving towards the sun against the solar wind. Okay? Now, I don't see many people addressing this, and usually when we have like a filament release or something like that that returns back, it doesn't make it this far out. Let me back out a little bit for you. Most filament releases never make it past the occulter. Okay, this is the sun, the white circle. So whatever's happening out here is way past the occulter, and I believe we're going through like a little field of some of these objects. You can see them like going in, bouncing off, interacting. Some are coming in, some are going out. I'll let you just sit there and look at that for a minute. It almost reminds me like some, like one of those LSD art trippy type things. They try to get your eyes. You stare at the center for a minute, and then you look at the wall, and all of a sudden the wall breathes or something like that. It reminds me of one of those videos, something like that, because we have stuff going outward as well as inward. All over this side, all down below, all over this side. I think the only area is like right up here where there's nothing going inward. But very, very strange activity again here on our sun. Get that out of there. Please. Thank you. All right, so there's your activity on the sun today. And we did have a few blasts right there and right there, but they never really expanded outward or anything. So that's it's on our X-ray flux, but it doesn't look like much here. Okay, so there's your activity today. Very strange. Like I said, almost looks like we're in a little debris field of little objects that are all coming in from this side. Well, from all sides. Hit the magnetic field lines, tearing away like this, making a wake down here, like this one right there. All right. So something's moving inward and then they ricochet off and come out at different angles. And you can see over here, it like the sun is reacting to some of these that are coming in. It's like shooting out at them as they're coming in. You see how the CME goes over them and then they continue to move in? One more time. Yeah. The sun reacts to these things moving in, hits a magnetic field line, kicks out a CME that goes over the object, and the object keeps moving in. No one else is addressing this. I want the answers. Yeah, no one's going to give you no answers. Never a straight answer anyway. So we'll just do it this way. So there's your activity on the sun today. Very, very crazy. All right, now let's come over here to the solar ham. And real quick here, I want to show you your solar flux index is still at 245. That's way high. It's only down 2 points, so we're still way up there, okay? Sunspot number has come down 34, down to 232. We're still way above 200, but it did come down 34, so that's good. Meanwhile, our area is getting back into the cautionary area. That's not a big deal right now. Right now, I'd like to have this one, Lord, please. What's the anti thing on it? Did you see that sucker fighting me? It was trying to give me a political ad. You guys are just sharks. 72, watch out down here. 74 and 77, that whole complex still kind of rotating off the east limb there. Meanwhile, these are still kind of rotating out of the strike zone now. That's good. All right, so let me take you back now. And we'll just slide on over to here. So here's your GOES X-ray flux for today. Okay, you can see all these blasts and everything, right? Little long duration one with a spike right there. But it sure didn't look like it on the satellite today because everything was going inward and bouncing out and then going in and bouncing back out. So very, very strange activity. And then you can see our main indice is kind of lowered. We're way down here mid-C. So we did come down a little bit. All right, that's okay. Take every little bit we can get. All right, so let's back out of that now, down to 110. So the next coming days, we have August 3rd and August 4th, still our G2 geomagnetic storm forecast, clear on the 3rd, okay? Keep that in the back of your mind when we get to the weather report. 25% chance of X flare, 75 M flare. Okay, the sun's been very active lately. Here's some of our new flares here. The M54, M73, and an M28 today. Okay, those three right there. Meanwhile, over here at our KP, you can see our auroras are starting to get a little yellow right in there a little bit. So it's starting to, we're going to get up to KP4 or maybe even 5 here in a little while. It looks like we're taking on some kind of little event here. But what I want to point out is this 0. Do you see this gap right here where there's a 0? Usually that's an indication between two waves. When we have a CME and a wave come and then another one, they don't cannibalize and mix into one. There's a barrier right in between. And when that happens, we get this KP0 moment until the next little wave of energy hits again. And you can see here we go, absorbing another wave of energy. It's active right now, okay? Okay, meanwhile, over here, just this huge list of sunspots. Ones to be concerned about are 72, that's beta gamma delta and growing. Okay, that has X flare potential. And 3765, that's beta gamma delta, but it's declining. These other ones, this one's declining. The beta gammas are all like stable and stuff. So mainly just those two, but we do have a lot of red on the screen there. So the potential is still out there. Okay, let's get through this article real quick. As of this update, there has been no sign of CME observed on August 1st, brushing past Earth. Moderate G2 geomagnetic storm watch remains in effect for now. Should a passage, in fact, take place as predicted, solar activity reached higher levels on Saturday with a pair of M flares above the M5 threshold. The first event, an impulse of 7.3, was observed around 3775. The second event measured an M5.4 and was centered off the northeast limb. This may be the return of old AR 3744 from the previous rotations. Boy, we're getting a lot of these that are making it all the way back around. No Earth directed eruptions of plasma were observed today, though. So, bingo, right there. We got another one coming in. Let's open the tracker and do some track-a-lacking since we're lacking some tracking. And still looking at this in between the third and the fourth. Should have hit already. But what we just saw in the KP, remember there was kind of, well, that's not a very good representation. Let's get to this one. That one's going a little too fast for my liking. All right, let's load this up real quick. Thank you guys for being here. Eric, you were supposed to have a wrench. What happened there? I will have to get you again then. Maybe it was your old account. All right, so here we go. Okay, at this point right here, I want you to see we got one wave right here and then another little bubble back behind it. It's not right at Earth, but that could be sometimes a little double impact. Boom, boom. And that would be similar to that gap in the KP. All right, so we may have had our event, it just wasn't very high on the KP because our magnetic field is strong right now. So we'll see. But that little double bump right there kind of looks like it could have been the separation gap here in our KP, unless maybe there's just no readings for right here dropping data, but usually that's an indication that there was two separate waves. It was all polarized here. It ended. There was a gap, and then a new polarized wave came in. So that's what it looks like to me. All right, now after 24 hours, a website fundraising 30% of the goal. Good. Thank you. Hopefully they keep going because I like this site. Whenever you do it, everything. I will get it here real soon too, because I thought I already had it, but maybe it's a different Eric. All right, moving on. Let's get on over here to the spaceweather.com. Now, the big sunspot alert. A large sunspot is emerging over the sun's southeast limb. This big bad boy right here. Okay. And astronomers are encouraging to monitor the active region. Solar flares are most photogenic when they occur close to the edge of the sun, hurling their debris into the black backdrop of space. And the black backdrop of a black stellar core behind it sometimes too. The discussion between sunspots. Sunspots do like to talk to one another. Kind of like us here. We like to talk to one another. Well, so do sunspots. Actually, not what's going on there, but we can entertain that idea anyway. The sunspots, like yesterday, August 3rd, 75, produced a strong M73, and an unnamed sunspot just behind the sun's eastern limb quickly responded on its own with an M54. That was on the 3rd. This over here, I'm wondering if maybe we're not getting all of our data. Talking about this event right here. I think they're talking about that event right there. And they happen because of the objects. It's not, there was two objects at once. There were a bigger one and a little moon coming out at a different angle, and they're not sympathetic talking to each other. There's two objects possibly at the same time. One occurring back here, and one that's passing by latching onto this one up front. Anyways, we will continue to see. These are called sympathetic solar flares. That is, pairs of explosions that occur almost simultaneously. Well, it should be simultaneously, but in a widely spaced active region. Long ago, researchers assumed the eruptions were just coincidence, but in July 2002, a study proved otherwise. Some sunspots are linked by nearly invisible magnetic loops in the sun's corona, and instabilities can rapidly travel from one to another, creating a chain reaction of explosions. That is possible as well. But that's a pretty big gap. And if it's connecting out in a corona, we should have seen, a good CME out of it. But anyways, let's get back to our article here. Sunspots are linked by nearly invisible magnetic loops. All right. The 75 is indeed linked to the unseen sunspot. More twin flares may be in the offing as both turn toward Earth in the days ahead. Okay, we'll see if these two do it again. Because usually it's not this, it's the sun getting bombarded with multiple things at once. Oh, like this. So multiple objects coming in at different angles could spark different little regions, and they weren't right exactly at the same time either. So I have a different theory, but we can continue on because it can arc like that. All right, moving on though, over here to our Schumann. Here we go. Quite a bumpy day again here. Very impulsive, on and off and on and off. We had a little continuity for a minute, and then something hit the fan, and it just went zzz. So we had some good pressure come in. It was grinding down at the core, causing very intense 7.83 and all the other lower frequencies too. Okay. So intense, not so intense, intense. So on and on and off and on and off. Little roller coaster ride today. And we had some pressure built up because we take on some energy from the sun. It finally made it down to the core. The core reacted. Pressure started to build, started to grind. We had an event, released pressure, and then it started to build again. Another event right in between, right there in the red area, and then build up a pressure, and then it tapers off, and now we're back to good continuity. I think that was the nap I got for just a second there. I want it. Yeah, we're starting to see a little brightening up. I just refreshed for a little data, but for right now, good continuity, a little increase right there. So we're close to having, grinding again. Now let's get on over here to the thermal. Actually, first, I want to go back to here. Okay, this is our weather. Do you see what's happening here on the West Coast? Our new configuration has taken this storm that was out here, this thing right here, that was going to come at the Pacific, and now is taking it up our vortex up here at the North Pole, our heat-induced vortex up here at the North Pole is connecting down to the Pacific and is taking all the energy from this storm and sucking it up to here. Meanwhile, we have that heat. Remember that big old heat bridge right there is causing wind to go down the coast and back out into the Pacific. So no storms are making it past this wall right here. Okay. And look, they go boom, up and way over. And then we got this vortex going on here, still our one over there. Okay. So very interesting layout here. We still have this little hurricane out here going to town, but it's heading out that way. We got this one moving into Florida that everybody's going to be concerned about here. Okay, already starting to get some rotation and wind going through there. All right, and that's just your wind. Now let's get let's do the chemicals really first. Get this out of the stuff out of the way. All right. I should put the fires on too. There's your SO2 country divided. We got bleeding out on this side, little patch right here. Probably some flooding has plugged it up, but west side is mainly perforations in the crust, volcanic sites, and these sites emitting SO2 is so hot that they're producing fires at some of them. There it goes. Okay, so up here, Pacific Northwest, fires being caused because of SO2 emissions coming out of the ground. All right, this is the gas that surrounds the magma down below. Magma is very hot, okay? So the gases that surround it are very hot as well. There's this fire as well that was, well, they're not showing it, but it was produced by that spot right there. Some of this is moved easterly now towards Idaho, into Colorado and stuff now. And now we're starting to see fires at some of these sites out here in the east now. It's made all the way down past out in California, down into Mexico now. See these sites down here in Baja California or Mexico that are having fires now at their SO2 emission sites. So the pressure just keep pushing further and further south, causing fires along the west coast here, and then it's starting to push east into this easterly part now. And so there, take that off, please. So there's America with its issues. Okay, there's Mexico has SO2 emissions all the way down. South America, our fulcrum point, we check this every once in a while. It's nice and defined. So are the other couple here. Not as widespread as the other day, so maybe a little reduction in pressure right there. Meanwhile, as we go down, you see it's all dark down here, and this relieves pressure, keeping big magnitude quakes from happening on these plate boundaries. So good release of pressure there. Now, let's move on over here. Stop off in Hawaii just real quick. Yeah, all three islands are still emitting SO2, but higher concentrations coming out of Oahu, which is okay. I'd rather see it come out SO2 than have a volcanic eruption on Oahu. Ow. All right. Now, moving on. Come on over here. Turn them back. There we go. All right, here's China. Their issues. A bunch of this air has crept up further north now, up into this region, all the way down, doubling back down into the Korean Peninsula here. See, Korea Peninsula right here is having issues. Same with Japan. It's a volcanic island. Okay, here we are at at Taiwan here, our fulcrum point where a lot of energy gets released. Still pretty good SO2 emissions out of there for right now. So it's showing pressure in that area is still kind of high, and we're seeing a lot of SO2 emissions. So we need a quake there to relieve that pressure. Meanwhile, just across the way, they got some issues there. Landslides, sinkholes going on over here. This gas causes perforations in the crust. It blows dust, clears out little dust channels, or little air channels, and it knocks all the dust and particles out of that. And then water, when it rains there, falls and perforates back down into those channels, eroding them away even more, causing, underground erosion. Sinkholes. Underground erosion. Understand that? A sinkhole. Bingo. India still got their issues. Saudi Arabia still got their issues. All of Europe looks like it got hit with a shotgun. Side of beef got shot with a shotgun blast. Now, let's come on down here to Java. We always check here at Java. It's nice and dark purple tonight. You've been a chef for 30 years? The Range Cafe. Go look that up. I think I know. Anyways, let's get back to this. I got SO2 emissions coming out of this region right here and at the channel here too, where Krakatoa is. Sumatra filling in. This area got pretty dark right there. But all in all, pressure pretty high right now. I mean, we did see a little relief, but it wasn't much. Meanwhile, Australia's got its issues, Tasmania, and now even New Zealand. No, elite, you can't escape there. Change of plans. Meanwhile, we got this little island up here that's got these two emission sites, and these are just constant all the time, and they relieve pressure coming into the system right here, into the plate barriers or plate boundary system right here. Here's Fiji, our deep quake location, emitting SO2 again. Same with this little island, this little spot out here. Okay, so there's that. Now we can get over to the ocean here, and everybody take a deep breath. Here we go. I'm a little zoomed in there, sorry. All right, here's your Pacific for right now. This has changed again. All right, we have more yellow further north now, creeping up along the Canada coast. All right, so it was this little patch right out here. Now it's creeping further north up there. Let me get you guys the proper coloration here so you can see what I'm saying. There we go. All right, so we've had a change there. That change has caused a different pattern in our thermal vortexes. Okay, I titled this thermal vortex because we're going to talk about that a little bit. All right, so we have a little change of pattern here, just because of this structure right here, change in structure. You'll see the change in pattern in a minute. Here, look at the straight line, bing. But this is really kind of, well, squared up and changed into a more centrally located spot. It's got its cold patch right next to it, so we're going to see vortex action there. Meanwhile, around Japan, it's not that white spot anymore, so they've seen a reduction in pressure there. Here we are down at Taiwan. There's no more yellow really around it. A little tiny hint there, but the cold water has disappeared too. So we did have an increase in pressure there, kind of robbed the cold water in the area, and then a decrease as well. So it took out the cold water, but the yellow kind of went away too. So meanwhile, come down here. Right here, excuse me, off of Java, usually we're seeing cold water inundation in this region because there's less pressure, right? Look at this hot spot growing off the coast of Java. They're going to have some more volcanic issues and stuff around here too. Meanwhile, off the coast of Sumatra, we got this yellow patch growing. All of that region right down there. Okay, now we're going to come over to the Atlantic, and what a mess it is. What used to be just a triangle type structure here has now blossomed all the way out, reaching down, curling back, all up in here. You can see that is not good. A heat plume coming off the coast right there is not good. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put the winds on, and we're going to see the correlating, wind. Our storms and our wind patterns are being controlled by the thermal production on the ocean floor. Let's come on over to our structure here. All right, first off, hot and cold. Hot water rises, cold water rushes in to replace it, causing vortex action. There's your vortex from your hot and cold. Hot and cold. Hot and cold, sorry, right here. Your vortex action right there. taking everything up now. This whole storm right here is now getting energy taken off of it, going all the way up to our thermal vortex at the North Pole. Yes or no? See the heat coming out right here? You see the cold water right next to it? This vortex at the North Pole matches the shape. Look. And it's so strong that it's pulling the energy from this all the way up across Alaska up to the North Pole. So any kind of activity coming across the Pacific is going to go up into the North Pole. It has caused this big wall to come down, starting from the Gulf of Alaska, basically. Look how this all matches the shoreline. Coming all the way down, this is blocking any kind of weather from coming across into the country. It just hits this, turns, and goes right down, and follow it. It goes right back out into the Pacific. Look at this. Our vortex right here, you see hot and cold. And if it continues to grow and strength as a storm, it would get sucked into this pattern and just go south of the Hawaiian Islands. This is getting crazy, but let's just keep going. All right, you can see this main one has grown and it's organized, it's tightened up in its rotation. Okay, so this one is getting more organized. We got another opposite rotation here coming off of this, feeding up into that. Over here, that's probably not good for India right now. Whoops. Undo that. Thank you. Okay, so there's that. I'll come over to the Atlantic, and here's your Atlantic conveyor belt system. Cooler water, hot water, rotation. This new plume out here has actually pulled the rotation out a little bit. It was more tight and organized. Now it's drawing it out a tad bit. We got an anti-vortex or a different rotation counterclockwise right here that's still pulling sand off, pulling it into this and diminishing our production there. In fact, just really quick, okay, same wind pattern. You can still see the same wind pattern, and what it's doing, it's really taking a big chunk from this concentrated area, rolling it up and then bringing it out. So we got a big wave of sand blocking production right now, thankfully, because you see, once there's a little gap, we get storm formation, okay? And we could use some of that sand up here in the Gulf now because we're getting heat plumes in the Gulf. And look how these storms have picked up some of that sand. It's probably weakening them a little bit, or weakening any kind of convection in those thunderheads. Okay, there's your sandstorm. Just really quick, looking around. Look at over here's a mess too. Two eyes with a big old mess mouth. Boom. But all that sand's being picked up and thrown right at India too. So, all right, back to the water here. And you can see our correlating wind currents because of the thermals, thermal vortexes controlling our weather. Like I said, our weather is no longer controlled by the lower jet stream. In fact, let's do that. Okay, because you see our weather pattern right here. This is this is what our weather is following, is this conveyor belt. All the weather is following their own little structures right now. But I want you to show you the lower jet stream. Look at this big old vortex right here. This has caused it's even reaching up to the upper or to the lower jet stream and causing it to act funky. Thermal induced vortex up here at the North Pole is interacting with the lower jet stream. And it's not the lower jet stream that's causing the weather. This is actually affecting the lower jet stream. And then let's go up one more. Wait, that was the upper. Sorry. There's the lower. That was my bad. It's affecting the upper. There's the lower jet stream right there. And there's the storm, right? But it's not going to come into California or the Pacific Northwest. No, everything that's in it's just being ripped away and going up to the North Pole. So now our thermal vortexes are actually affecting the lower, that's the lower, this is the upper jet streams. And it's affecting both of them. But as we go down, and then we go over to ocean, right, keep the wind there. Keep an eye on that vortex right there. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, hot, cold, mixing together, causing rotation. That storm's not going to move. It's not going to come across the country. It's just being peeled away and torn up there. Why? Oh, yeah. And the wind patterns actually match the heat signature. You see this point up here? Yeah. Getting spooky, folks. And then you see how much, whoops, let me take the wind off here real quick. You see how much heat there is up here at the top of the world? This is way up above Siberia. This is where all the ice, the Russians have their sub bases and stuff and the ice caves and stuff. They're all going to melt. And then over here at the coastline of Alaska, you see these heat plumes growing off the coastline in the bays and stuff. Underground here, they're having a heat plume growing under the ground, and it's popping up along the shoreline, causing quakes around this area. Look at over here. Russia's having their right here at the Kamchatka as well. All right, back with the air patterns again. You guys need to kind of get this sunk into your head, how this works and why it's doing what it's doing and how the lower air patterns are now controlling the weather and even affecting the lower jet stream. Because the lower jet stream isn't moving stuff. It's correlating with our heat signatures. So, a lot of crazy, crazy stuff going on right now. All right, so there's your thermal vortexes and their your latest update on what they're doing now. Pacific is tightened up. Atlantic over here, this thing has broadened and stretched out. Okay. Just real quick, we still have this southern fetch, this huge vortex down here, pushing air up across the equator, and this vortex grabbing it up. See this opposite rotation, swooping up air from the southern hemisphere across the equator and then throwing it up into this too. So, interesting, very interesting stuff. All right, let's move on over here to our earthquake report now. Thank you, Lord. Okay, I'll try to get in here. All right, fine, don't move. There we go. So our deep earthquake region today, 4.2 down at 532. A little lower than our typical activity, usually mid-range 4. There's a 4.3 down at 578. So lower in magnitude, but 2, smaller 4, 4.2 and 4.3 deep quakes here would put, around 5 energy into the system. We have this island right here that reduces pressure, so came in at a 4.7, down at 41. That's probably not even on the plate boundary. That's probably a little volcanic seamountain or something right on the side here, maybe. Down at 41, it probably is. All right, moving on. Sorry, gotta do it that way. Nothing down there. All right, very quiet through this whole region. Okay, remember we saw a little pressure building off the coast of Sumatra. So the volcanic activity, not quite enough. Here's 4.7 again at the surface, plate boundary, relieving energy. Now let's come on up here to our weak spot where we had our two big quakes yesterday and a lot of relief of energy in this region. 4.9 down at 58. What do we do with 4.9s? 4.4, 4.5, and another 4.5. So a little bit more energy released right there today. That's perfect. These are ones that don't cause a bunch of damage and relieve energy at the same time. So that was a pretty good quake because there's still a weak spot there, and we're seeing energy being relieved at our weak spot, our path of least resistance. Okay. We'll come on up. Very quiet around Taiwan still. I think this may have locked up or something for the moment. And, we need some quake activity in this region. Mid-range 5, nothing too big, okay? But to relieve the pressure in the region. Coming up here to Japan. Boom, 4.1 down at 28 and 4.4, 29. So a couple of little 4s right in the same spot right there. Ooh, haven't had one this part in a while. 4.8 down 37. Okay, you see these islands. Get this out of the way. You see these islands. You can see the ocean floor. You can see their little seamounts, right? That are poked up through the water, sticking up above. This right here with a peak on it right there is another seamount that hasn't crested the water, and on the flank of that seamount, volcano, underwater volcano, 4.8. Let me go over to the Kamchatka real quick. So just off the tip of the island, whoopsie. Oh, out here where the cold water is? Yeah, because there's a relief of pressure in that area. Okay. Moving on. Fulcrum Point, no, we did that one. The lake region of China, 4.3 down to 10. There's energy being scrubbed at the surface right there. Fulcrum Point quake, probably a little deeper because of the thickness here. 4.2 down at 202 in Afghanistan. Very quiet through this region. Along there, we were seeing quakes in this little area for a minute. Very quiet through there. Eerily quiet through there. Too quiet through there. Finally something on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. 5.5 down at 10. Trust me, there's more than that just going on this Mid-Atlantic Ridge. All right, that help relieve some of the pressure, though. That shows you that pressure is so high down there that we're having 5.5s along this the zipper of the planet there. Going into South America, just under the fulcrum, 4.8, a little thicker crust there. 4.1. Nice peak right here, volcanic peak. Nice river fracture zone going right down that. See it continue right through, whoops, right on through there. And just off of that is your 4.1 down at 150. This structure right here has got some weakness in it, and you're gonna have to watch that right there. Interesting. All right, magnitude check real quick. 3.8. Well, it's bigger than that. 3.7 and all right. Still a little high in that region there. Oh, 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 oh. What do we have up here? 4.7 at the surface. Your diverse quake. That was right up there somewhere. Show me again. Oh, okay. This little bubble right up in here, right where all the right where all the pressure is, right in that area. I took the wind off. Right in that area, I think. So, wonder why there was a quake there, huh? Oh, probably because there's a lot of pressure up in that area. This is down, it's at the surface right there, so watch out. You guys are going to be seeing earthquake activity up here along the coastline of the northern coastline of Russia and up, up at the North Pole as well, or up at this Arctic. Okay, now we are ready to go all magnitude into the USA. I can give my hand to cooperate. All right, little microquakes along here are typical activity, volcanic sites. Ooh, this. Go. Pretty shallow there, too. That's a new spot. Meanwhile, out here, 2.3, way lower magnitude through this little region here lately. We're seeing a increase in magnitude through there. I want to catch this fulcrum point right there is 2.4. Right there is 2.6. And right there is 1.3. Nothing higher, really. Okay. We have lots of pressure out here. We should be seeing more quakes very soon in this region. Even further up in here. Remember we saw the pressure coming up into this region too? Here we go into the, Seattle area. This little one. We got one right on top of Rainier. Bingo. It's not much, but it's an indication of pressure down below. Earthquakes at volcanic sites. Sorry, jumping all over the place. This is Mount St. Helens. Let's see if we can get a proper perspective. Right here is your mountain. And what's the base of the mountain? Bingo. That's on the flank of a volcano. That's the base of the mountain right there. That's another indication of pressure down below. Here we come into this. Is this Lassen, I believe? And look at this little quake swarm here. It's not big ones. Government Camp Oregon. I believe it's Lassen. Okay, more earthquake activities at a volcano. Here we go, off the coast here. This is not plate boundary. This is not your weak zone. This is one of your diverse quakes again, even though it's not a huge magnitude and in a super weird spot. It's not on your plate boundary. It's not on the beach. It's not in the slough zone. It's right out here in the middle of the plateau. Pressure is not being relieved right here. It's pushing inland and finding a new weak spot right in this. That's not good. I would rather see it right here on the plate boundary than pushing in like this. Just real quick, that's Idaho. Yeah, good. And over here. Yep. Okay, nothing at the focal point, nothing pushing inland, just the geysers relieving pressure right there in that area. We have a quake south of it, 1.7, right outside the bay, plate boundary quake, right outside the Golden Gate right there, right by the San Francisco Zoo, where all the animals in San Francisco live. And then we move into this region. Not bad, not bad. Uh-oh. Okay, cool. So microquaking, still kind of quiet along here. We had this plate boundary and this one, but that's it. Very quiet along the San Andreas. Okay, we could use a little more activity in there. I know it sounds strange, but earthquakes relieve the pressure. And when I say we could use activity, it's not because I want to see devastation and loss of life. I want to see magnitude 5s or less relieving pressure. 2.1 magnitude here in Texas. What? Got quite a good little swarm going on here. Largest magnitude here, 3.3 in New Mexico, 3.2. Okay, some of these are decent quakes. This is not just micro quaking. These are decent little quake swarm right there, relieving energy in this region. We have many, many perforations in Texas. Okay, just quick. All right, they're very, very shallow too, so we all know what that is. Do you see what I see? First, let me back out. You guys pay attention at Dutch Sense. He's always talking about the craton, the craton, the craton. Well, here you are on the craton. This is almost like a fulcrum point because it goes up, doubles back, and goes like this, right? This 180 change in direction is a fulcrum. Is it not? And where do we have our quake? Up here on the fulcrum point. It's not much. It's a 2.1 and it's really shallow. That is an indicator of your weak spot. That's your fulcrum point right up there. This area in Marston, Missouri, this region in here between, let me pull back, between this spot and right up here. Okay, there's your fulcrum right there, and it's just inside of it. In between this area right here, watch out for quakes. We're seeing one right there. It's an indication of pressure down below causing a weak spot, especially at a fulcrum point like that. On the craton too, as well. Fulcrum point on the craton. I'm surprised it hasn't crept up through here a little bit. All in all, I think that was it. Quick little stop at Hawaii. Good. It's all staying on the main island. I want to see magnitudes. These aren't minor quakes either. These are 2, 2.4, 2.6. Is there a 3 in there? 3.7, 3.0. 3.7 is pretty good. See, this thing's backed up. It's not letting the magma right underneath the surface here. Because look, 1.6, I mean, it's just right underneath these. And it wants to bust out of there, but it can't. It's blocked up, causing quaking in flank of the volcano right here. See? Down at the base. Yeah. Definitely an increase in pressure in the region because this is the hub of the rim. Pacific Rim or a bicycle rim, this would be the hub, right? Round bicycle rim, that would be the hub right in the center. Ooh, we got a brand new fulcrum point quake over here because the fulcrum's pointing that way. This is a 4.4 down at 101. Mountains, foothills, plains, pressure ridges, weak zone. 4.4. All right, that concludes your earthquake report. Now let me kill some of these. Well, keep that one. That one can go. That one can go. That one can go. We can and open up a volcano report here. Pressure down below, coming up to the surface, pushing on the underside of the crust, that'd be the inside, pushing up towards the surface. Looking for path of least resistance, right? Finding fulcrum points, finding plate boundary, little new spots of weakness. Well, and we also got our regular activity here. Thank you. Here we go. First, I wanted to show you up above there, 62 volcanoes, but let's just move on. There it goes. 34 and erupting, 28. 62 volcanoes. Here we go. Oh, dear Lord. All right, there's a good thermal shot right there out of Etna. Bizamani. Thermal view of the lava fountain from Etna. Yeah, Etna's central summit crater this morning. So, Italy, Etna, seeing big explosions out of it. Okay. Etna, the new violent episode of lava fountaining or paroxysm. Paroxysm is in progress this morning from the volcano's central summit. At around 3:20 a.m. local time, the continuous but so far only moderate strombolian activity at the Varangi began to increase rapidly, accompanied by a steeply rising value of volcanic tremors. Bizamani, no satellite imagery. Ibu, 10,000. Semeru, L, pushing its maximum at 15,000. Ducono, 8,000. Sangay, 20,000. Reventador, back on there, 14. Sabancaya, 20. And that was just in the last few minutes, because that's August 4th. Now let's go into today, which was today, is now yesterday, because time flies at this channel. Up. Two red volcanoes here, Stromboli and Etna, both in red there. See this one in yellow? It'll probably go active here pretty soon too. We'll see. Sometimes Etna, like this release, can relieve some of the pressure. So throughout the night, the Stromboli activity at the Varangi has been comparably intense. All right. Sakurajima, 9,000 feet. Ibu, 10,000. That's what it showed last time. Luatobi, 9,000. Semeru, pushing its maximum at 15. Ducono, 8. Santa Aguito. Slow extrusion of viscous, blocky lava continues to feed the uppermost part of the lava flow. Okay, still lava flowing out of that. Pacaya, new one added to the list. The volcano continues to be quiet. Oh, only a degassing plume rising 50 to 100 meters. Yeah, it's degassing. Okay, pressure from down below causing it to degas. Fuego, 15,000. Sangay, 21. Reventador, 14. Those are same numbers. Sabancaya, 22. And that is your volcano report. Let's get the weather done too really quick. All right. Let that load up. Oh, so our G2 geomagnetic storm activity did not really pan out so strong. So we didn't see a very intensification, a slight intensification, but not very intensive. All right. On the intensification scale of 1 to 4, it would have been a 1. You know what I'm saying? It was more like a G1 instead of a G2. So, as you can see, all this chaos going on here, let's make sense out of it. Okay, a lot of factors playing into our weather. We have more particulates, we have more moisture in the air, both combined together for higher rain totals, larger thunderstorms, more violent storms, higher winds, larger hail. Flash flooding, wonderful list, right? Okay. Currently, the nighttime of August 3rd, still severe weather here in the middle of Minnesota. Thankfully, it wasn't so severe today. Probably could have been worse, and I think we dodged a bullet as far as our geomagnetic storm being less intense. All right, I need that one still. Okay, as we go forward now, remember G1. So this is the nighttime of the 3rd. Now we go into the 4th. Just reminder, G2. Okay, now probably won't happen. It'll probably be G1 again because look, here's your break. So here's probably our second little round coming right here, and it probably will be, G1 again. So not too much intensification on the 4th. Do you see what I'm saying? So let's just stick with like G1 intensification possibilities. We'll see. Whew. Morning of the 4th, noon. Possible intensification as this thing makes landfall, noon the 4th. Back up, because there's the morning of the 4th, noon the 4th. Convection the 4th. If we're having G1, G2, geomagnetic storming, slight intensification of this as it makes landfall, or, is striking the coast there at convection, there's nighttime intensification. The morning of the 5th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 6th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 7th, noon, convection, nighttime. You might want to clear out of that area. Morning of the 8th, noon, finally starting to push inland. Convection, nighttime. Morning of the 9th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 10th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 11th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 12th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 13th, noon, convection, nighttime. 14, noon, convection, nighttime. 15, noon, convection, nighttime. 16, noon, convection, nighttime. 17, noon, convection, nighttime. 18, noon, convection, nighttime. 20, 19, noon, convection. All right. So we're getting back into severe weather pattern here. This thing, everybody just monitor it. It's going to be all over the place. It has changed so many times already. So we'll just kind of continue to monitor it and stuff. But we could probably take this model right here. See your wind patterns? That might be the track that it takes right up through there. Also, I wanted to show you something else here at this site. Yeah, this is your standard sea surface temperatures. Very, very hot in this area now. That's more, the other one was the anomalies. This is your just standard sea surface temperature. So we got anomalies all around that and that whole area heating up. So what I'm saying is, despite sand plume cutting off the activity, if there's a break in the sand or in sand or whatever, we could see stuff develop here, come up, get strong right here, because it's going to gain strength as it hits the shoreline now, instead of lose strength, because that's where hotter water is. So just as these storms come through here, you'll see category 3 turning 4, turning 5. So we're going to have to watch very, very carefully. And you can see our conveyor belt structure still there. And it's matching this pattern too, isn't it? Yeah. We're going to have some issues this summer, at the end of the summer here, I think. Hopefully the sandstorm continues, but that's some of the warmest water right there in the world. And that's right where our storm's at, gaining strength right in there. All right, just had to show you that real quick. Now, sorry, back to our forecast there. So you'll probably see it go up through the coast. We'll see. These models are all different right now. But I have a feeling it's going to follow the conveyor belt. That's what produced it. That's what's been directing it the whole time. So we'll probably entertain this here, doing just like that. I think it's probably going to go more like this and then out. But that's a long time right there in that area. It's going to put down a lot of water. South Carolina, North Carolina, that whole area, you're going to be flooded for a while. So prepare for it, or evacuate. And just monitor this closely too, because that's going to be putting down a lot of water in that region over the course of several days. Okay, you're mature adults here. You can make a wise decision. You've learned a lot here at this channel. I think you can make a wise decision as what you should do in that case. All right, that's it for our astrophysics, geophysics. Now it's time for the metaphysics, or our spiritual report. Okay, let me clear some of this stuff out. Pull up a couple good images to read to tonight. Excuse me, I'm thoroughly exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally. Just all right. Important images. Every time I pull this up is for a reason. That is a 2,000-year-old prophecy come true. That's your anchor. That's your rock. That's your foundation, okay? Guys, got to understand this is an hour-long event that took place on Easter, okay? These are all the different pictures I got of it. I get wavy lines out of here. That's what bugs me the most. All right, so a couple of images there to read to. Let me get another one pulled up here. Which one? Okay. After an ad, of course. Come on. There we go. Need that one. Right there. Okay, this video that this gentleman captured happens to be, well, my face. Kind of weird when you recognize your face in the clouds, your face being shown up by the moon. All this weird paranormal stuff that happened to me these last 6.5 years. It's just been, quite a roller coaster ride. And I've learned a lot along the way, too. Mainly a lot about human behavior. Oh boy, did a surprise in that field. Okay. Here we go. And I think towards the end here, is that too close up there? I think way back here is better when it's a little bit smaller and a little brighter too. Okay. As long as you can see our Lord and Savior here pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart's radiating out these waves, making my face here in the sky. I had all these faces in the clouds following me, watching me, studying me everywhere I go, and then it changes into my face in the clouds with a crown, and then on Easter, again, my face with a crown showing up on Easter. 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. All right, there we go. Sorry, in between happy middle. Something like that, maybe? Lord? Okay. Somewhere around there. Everybody take a deep breath, get all settled in, get comfortable, relax. A lot of scary details going on around the world. Okay? We're seeing a lot of biblical truths come true and stuff, and it can be very scary, right? So it's important that you understand that this is all part of the process, okay? And now you can breathe easy knowing that you're going to be okay. I read so much last night. I only got a couple for you guys tonight, but they're important ones because I went through this very intensely today, okay? Probably end up in the hospital here soon because today was pretty intense. So, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides, consider it a joyful opportunity. Don't waste energy regretting the way things are or wishing you could go back to yesterday. Remember that I am sovereign, powerful, and loving. Also, I am with you to help. So instead of being overwhelmed by all the difficulties, grasp my hand with confident trust. Though you are insufficient to handle your troubles by yourself, you and I together can handle anything. So if you view your circumstances from this big picture perspective, you're seeing the bigger picture now. You're seeing a new perspective, the big picture perspective, aren't you? So if you view your circumstances from this big picture perspective, you can be joyful even in the midst of your struggles. All right. What else is this right here too? Okay, yeah. So you have not only my presence with you, but my spirit now is within you. I am always ready to help, so seek my assistance as often as you need. One of the hardest parts of dealing with multiple trials now, not just one at a time. We're talking multiple trials at once. And one of the hardest parts of dealing with multiple trials is waiting for their resolution. And since patience is part of the Spirit's fruit, I can help you endure the waiting. That's what we're doing. I'm helping you endure the waiting. It's working. You're enduring. Because you have not only my presence with you, I'm here now with you, but also my spirit is now inside you. Okay? Patience is part of the spirit's fruit. So we're working on our patience, and I can help you endure the waiting. So don't try to get out of hard times prematurely, because I got caught doing that today too. I was going through the hard times. Like, yep, I know, I understand. Let's hurry it up. Let's get them over with and do. But no, I was trying to get out of the hard times prematurely. I caught myself doing that one today, and that's why it's important. I bring you stuff that's just hot off the street, okay? Stuff that I experienced today. So, when you're going through your hard times, I know it's hard to be patient during them because you're waiting to see the fruit that comes from it, right? But you have to be patient and don't try to get out of the hard time prematurely. Instead, persevere patiently. I know it's hard, but that's what we're working on, is patiently persevering, knowing that perseverance must finish its work, making you mature and complete. You will be mature and your faith is complete. Don't try getting out of the hard times prematurely. I was doing that today. Instead, I'd take a break and realize, oh, that's right. It has to run its course. I'll just have to persevere. And it might take longer than I thought. So I'll have to be patient and patiently persevere. I know it's hard. So patiently persevere, knowing, not guessing, not half truthing, persevering, knowing that your perseverance must finish its work, and that's making you mature and complete. You are, guys. You guys are getting mature and complete. More so than the rest of the world who's losing their maturity, huh? They're going backwards, becoming childish. Okay, let's just say I know you're weary. Okay, I feel like I'm on the verge of death right now. I might have to go to the hospital in the next couple of days. So if I don't have my show for a few days, it's just I'm getting some work done. Okay, but I know you're weary because I am too. So come to me, my weary one, and I will give you rest. I know the depth and breadth of your weariness. I know, I can feel it in my body. I know, I feel it. I know how weary you are. I see what's going on around in the world. It's torturing your mind. But come to me, weary one. I will give you rest. Nothing is hidden from me, and there is a time to keep pushing yourself when circumstances require it, and a time to rest. Okay? Even I, who have infinite energy, I still rest on the seventh day after completing my work. Okay? So, seek my face, kind of like this. And you know what? Where's this other one? Right there. I want that one nice and big. That is my face right there. That's what I look like right now as I got the light shining on half of my face as I'm reading to you. That's what I look like. Okay. Seek my face and then just linger in my loving presence while I shine upon you. Seek my face and linger in my loving presence while I shine upon you. Let favorite scriptures amble through your brain, refreshing your heart and your spirit. If something comes to mind that you don't want to forget, write it down, jot it down. Then return your attention to me. Now, as you relax with me, my love will soak into the depths of your being. My love will soak into the depths of your being. Okay? As you relax with me, let my love soak into the depths of your being. You may want to express your love for me in whispers or in spoken word or song. And I want you to know that I approve of you and I approve of rest. It's okay to push yourself, but it's okay to rest. When you relax in my presence, trusting in my finished work on the cross, both you and I are refreshed. Okay? I get refreshed by doing this show. It gives me a break from the spiritual warfare for a minute, right? I get to take a break and be with my family for a second until I have to go right back to the battlefield. But it's okay to take a day of rest, especially when you're weary. Okay? I have a bad habit of pushing myself and too hard until the circumstances require it, and then I keep going. But there's a time to rest, and like tomorrow's Sunday, so maybe tomorrow take a break from the news or some of the other stuff and take a moment to be at peace, to relax in my presence, trusting in my finished work, where both you and I are refreshed. Okay? That's it for tonight. I gotta get some rest. I got a big day tomorrow. And then once that's done, I'll get to rest. So, all of you understand, I love you. I miss you. Okay, these are real images. This is your foundation right here. The rock on which you can build, the rock on which you can lean on. This is true. You need to trust me because this is real stuff. This is not CGI, computer generated AI bullshit, whatever you want to call it. That stuff makes me angry because it totally undermines my credible, authentic stuff. It totally aggravates me that anything can be manipulated these days, because when authentic stuff like this comes around, a real miracle, there's always a hint of, oh, it could be this, it could be CGI, or what's the other one, Photoshop or whatever. No, these are real images. Ask some of the members in this family who have captured their own images in the clouds. They know that this is real. And it's important that you know this is real. That's how you get your peace, is by trusting me. Okay? Real deal. We're in the last days. You see everything that's going down. All right? This is me. This is my face in the clouds, coming with power and great glory. See the crown? All right? On Easter, 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. We are in that time frame. And it just didn't happen the way Hollywood said. This is my face in the clouds. If you are intrigued or interested or, intrigued by it, you're caught up. Like being caught up in a good book or a good song. It's fascinating. You're just intrigued. You can't look away because you're caught up in it. Well, this is my face in the clouds. And if you are caught up with me in the clouds, we have met in the air of cyberspace, live on YouTube, where I can be in every home if they recommend me, but that ain't gonna happen. but you are indeed part of a very precious family. Not just all in the family, or your all inclusive family. No, no, no. This is an elite group right here. Okay? The other elite are criminal elite. You are the real elite. Okay? Real stuff. I'm a real person. I'm a real man. The Word made flesh so I can walk and dwell amongst you. So I can get live on YouTube and show you my face. So when I say seek my face, you will have a face in which to seek. I love you all. You guys are awesome. I miss you. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back, and the world is showing signs of it, okay? You are a precious family. You are the elite. And I love you. Until my next show, I will be back. Bye.